Well, good evening, internets. It's me, DP Knudten, and I'm having a little bit of technical difficulties here as I struggle with my Stream Deck. Anyway, welcome to BOOKWARD BOUND, another edition of it. In fact, it's edition number 267 of my 301 consecutive live streams where I work on a brand new book called NONFICTION BRAND, Discover, Craft, and Communicate the Completely True, Completely You brand you already are. And that's what I'm doing here. Every night for 301 days consecutively, I'm coming down here to work on the book because I'm going to upload press-ready PDF files of the book to Amazon's Kindle Direct Publishing platform on January 1st of 2021. But in order to be able to do that, I actually have to have those files done. And that's where I've been asking your help as my peer pressure posse to keep me honest and working on this book by, I make a big pronouncement, say I'm going to do this. You guys keep me honest, make me come down here and do it. And that's how a book gets done. And as I said, this is episode 267. That means I only have 34 days left to go in this 301-day journey. So I better get the lead out and actually get going. And so here I am doing exactly that. Now, I'm going to be taking you over to Scrivener right now, which is the application I'm using to actually write this book. And you can see it right here, big window here, that's where you do the writing. Over here, you've got sections or chapters. And the big thing that I guess I want to point out right now is that you can see there were a bunch of green flags. Yay! A bunch of blue flags. Not so yay. Because those blue flags mean I still need to edit and proofread it at least one pass before it goes over to Amazon or Microsoft Word, where I will be actually doing the formatting, the final formatting of the book. And so if you look at this, I've got a blue flag right here on a section called the Nonfiction Brand Formula. And you can see that section right here, a total of 2,038 words, which, if you break it down, average sentence length, 15, which my average sentence length just appears to be 15, no matter what I do. And maybe that's good, maybe that's bad, I don't know. But you can see the breakdown here, including reading time. So that's an 8-minute read. Cool. So what I'm going to do now is read through it, because that's the way that I find that I can locate the trouble areas within the book the fastest. Literally, if I start talking and all of a sudden I stumble over a section, it's because it needs to be smoothed out a little bit. I love to have a very vocal style of writing, and there's no better way to do a vocal style of writing than to vocalize it and look for places that it doesn't feel right? So let's get started. I'm going to read through this whole section tonight and give this a green flag after I make all the changes and, sand out the trouble spots. So let's get started. The Nonfiction Brand Formula. I think a lot of people have a bad opinion about the word brand. To some, it's just a way that companies force you to pay more to far too many times. That's completely true. Here's a nonfiction story that I'm going to lightly fictionalize just so I don't get myself into legal trouble. There's a certain big box membership retailer that has a very good house brand portfolio of products covering everything from packaged goods to beverages and even clothing. Let's just call this house brand Mirkwood. Anytime you're browsing the aisles of this very popular store, especially on Saturdays when they have free samples all over the place, you'll see Mirkwood this and Mirkwood that, salted among the regular top brands you'd expect. The example I'm talking about is their very high-quality Mirkwood vodka. I have it on very good expert authority that the actual vodka used, that the actual vodka is, that the vodka used is a top shelf premium brand with a name that sounds something like Famous Grey Goose. From what I understand, it's the exact same product in a private label branded bottle and at a significantly lower price. That kind of thing happens all the time, making some question the value of brands altogether. Simply put, I don't want to put that kind of private label gray hat branding is not the isn't private label gray hat marketing not the kind of branding this book is about, and exactly why I've coined the term nonfiction branding to describe a wholly authentic approach to discovering, crafting, and communicating. Well, just read the subtitle on the cover. When I say that nonfiction branding is about being completely true and completely you, about who you are, what you do, and how you do it, I mean it. But there's another way to think about it that may help explain things further. It's a formula, but don't worry, there will be no math involved. Your value plus your values equal your nonfiction brand. Whenever you create a business, product, or service, you're providing some level of value to your customers. In fact, the value you provide is not what? In fact, the value you provide is not. Thank you. In fact, the value you provide is not that important. It's the value your customers receive that determines their success in the market. Bear with me for a sec as I explain this a little further. In my experience, most businesses want to tout features. But here's the thing. Customers buy because of benefits, and more specifically, the unique benefits they experience when selecting and using the product or service. Another word for these benefits is value. But value is a tricky word and completely subjective depending on the priorities, prejudices, and passions of the buyer. Consider this pair of examples. A Rolex Oyster Perpetual Submariner watch, Submariner wrist watch versus a Timex Ironman Classic 30 full-size resin strap watch. At the time of this writing, the stainless steel version of the Rolex retails just south of $6,000 US, and you could get the Timex you could get the Timex on sale for under $40 US. They share many of the same features, but have an entirely different value proposition. Which depends 100% on the customer's needs and point of view. If asked to say which watch is worth more, most would point to the Rolex. Why? Cost. But what if I asked the same question of performance athletes who are prepping for an upcoming triathlon? Their answer might be entirely different because the buyer determines a product's value, not the manufacturer. What's this whole value conversation have to do with you? Everything. Because the only reason to select you based on the communications your brand enables is founded on the completely true value you provide. I don't need that parenthetical statement. I think it messes things up. Because the only reason to select you is founded on the completely true value you provide. So what exactly is that value? Why should and do people select you over others who perform the same tasks and services? There's always something that makes you unique. but most people have never done the self-reflection necessary to determine what that something special is. In marketing, successful products have always have a USP. Depending on who you're talking to, USP can mean unique selling point, unique selling proposition, or even position. And there are vocal proponents for each of those P words and nuances between them. But what they all share is the same core idea that every product must have a unique place in the market and a compelling story to match. You may not like it, but from personal branding's POV, you are a product. And that product needs to be packaged, a topic we'll be diving into in later chapters. But for now, let's focus on your UVP, unique value proposition, and how to discover it, craft it for easy sharing, and communicate it in a way that resonates and engages with your desired audiences. As discussed elsewhere in this book, being a doctor, lawyer, plumber, teacher, realtor, etc. is not enough. And let me pick on the only job title in that list with a circle R in order to bring my point home. Did you know that the only correct and official written usage of the word realtor is realtor with a circle R? It's true if you're a member of the National Association of Realtors. Just search correct usage realtor in any search engine and you'll be instantly directed to a number of pages detailing the correct ways to use the title. And detailing detailing who may use the official title and the correct ways to use it. I completely stand why NAR defends that title use and usage the way it does, but doesn't it feel a little try-hard? Like screaming in the street, I am legitimate. Like screaming, I am legitimate. In the street, period. You may not think so, but I do. I'm guessing I'm not alone. So what is your value to others? Your value and values in action. What is your code? The combination of morals and practice that makes you a unique human being. You aren't just defined by what you do, but also by the way you do it. Perhaps no job better illustrates this concept illustrates this concept than sales. Why? Because we've all had a very personal versions of the two extremes, very personal experiences. With the two extremes of sales. One was amazingly bad, the other transcendently wonderful. Have you ever purchased a big ticket item and walked away knowing you got ripped off but couldn't prove it? On the other hand, have you ever had a mistake taken care of so well that you decided to give the person or company even more business even though they screwed it up the first time? Of course you had. You have. We've all experienced those extremes of bad sales, the extremes of sales. So what was the core thing about that wonderful interaction that the terrible one lacked? In most cases, it was all due to the person, the actual human being you dealt with and how they handled things. Every customer or client interaction is a stage upon which to demonstrate your brand value. And I'm going to hit that with bold. Just as a person's true character is never on display when the sun is shining, your brand values, while always there, are only truly on display when challenges show up when challenges show up when serving your customer. Just today, I was on a phone call with a customer who was very kindly checking in with me to see if I was still on we were still on track regarding a current project cost-wise. She told me she was a little concerned because we'd been doing a lot of work on the project, but wanted to make sure I was still working within the allotted budget. I said, yes, absolutely. We continued talking, and she said something along the lines of, well, I just wanted to make sure you weren't going to be invoicing us invoicing us for a $2,500 question that I didn't know I asked. Probing a little further, I found out why the question came up in the first place. She had asked what she thought was a simple question of an attorney, got a quick answer, and the bill for 2,500 hours spent answering it. She also mentioned that she had no thought that I'd do the same, but one of her very prudent partners wanted to make sure. I'm guessing their internal conversation went something like this. He's doing a lot of work. Are you sure it's covered by the initial agreement? I'm guessing so. We've changed things around a bit, but he's never made any noises about what we're doing or being out of scope or needing to revise the agreement. Prudent partner continued, what's his hourly rate? Could we be in for a shocking invoice out of the blue? My very short answer to that question was no. Why? Because my value is in providing all-in creative services for a set price. And my values tell me that a good client relationship is far more important to maintain, and it is far more important to maintain. And anything that could jeopardize that, like an unexpected bill, is simply not worth it. The client, who knows me and my brand well, said, I figured if we were burning too many hours, you'd let us know. See, she really does know my brand. And if it comes to that, I will ask for a revised agreement to account for project scope creep, but only if it exceeds 150% of allotted hours contracted. Why? Because a great relationship can have a lifetime's worth of transactions, and an unexpected invoice almost guarantees the loss of a client, even if they were satisfied by the project's outcome. One of my personal values is not to nickel and dime a client. I ask for what I believe I'm worth, and if you accept that price, we'll go until you're happy, as long as the scope doesn't change beyond plus minus 10%. On the other hand, as long as you're happy, as long as balloon doesn't agreement. On the other hand, I'm not afraid to let go of a project and relationship that isn't working. That's why my agreements are always written in phases with off-ramps either party can take built into the end of each phase. Why? Because another of my values is not to force a bad marriage. Malcolm Gladwell tells this story about a car salesman in his fantastic book, Blank. Long, great story short, one of the car salesmen he interviewed, who happens to be the highest seller at the dealership, simply refuses to do what the other salesmen do: profile customers. He treats every customer he greets the same way, with a smile and respect. And what happens? He has entire families coming to buy from him. Not from the car manufacturer, or not for the car manufacturer or the dealership, but for the personal brand and the values of salesman named Bob Gallum. Can a personal brand be so amazing that it becomes a landmark story within a New York Times bestseller? Yes, it can. Now, I've never met Mr. Gallum, but from what I've read, he is everything a nonfiction brand should be, completely through to who he really is. In an age when the word authenticity is ubiquitous and increasingly toothless, this guy is absolutely capital AUTHENTIC. That's the thing about words like authenticity, integrity, and honesty. These are words you can never use in reference to yourself. I'm going to give that a B. Oop. And the only way they can be used to describe you is via constant, consistent, used to describe you by others. Used to describe you by other is through constant, consistent demonstration. Such words are fragile too. One misstep, ill-timed tweet or par-baked opinion can destroy them. Repairing can take years at best. There's a reason men dueled to the death over such words. Once the concepts they represented were gone, they were not likely to return. Worst part, there was little you could do about it, because the power of those words were in the hands of the people who awarded them to you. Yes, reputation is an important part of brand. But there's more to it than that. In the past, your reputation was the thing that preceded you into a room. Now, there's a lot more involved, but I think the concept of personal brand is often underappreciated, while the idea of reputation is not. Now there's a lot more involved, but I think the concept of personal brand is often underappreciated, while the idea of reputation is not. Everyone understands the power of reputation, good or bad. So if it helps you get on board, go ahead and substitute reputation for the word brand in the following subversion of the nonfiction brand formula. Your values demonstrated equals your values. That shouldn't be it. Yeah, let's plus your values demonstrated equal your reputation. Gosh. Yeah, that's the form. That's the equation. Your personal brand. Get rid of this. Is this an equation you fully solved for yourself? If not, read on. because that's what this book is about. All about. All right, let's say that this can go from green to blue. Or blue to green, I mean. Strategic authenticity. All right. I'm just going to count through the blue sections right now. Just to get a number. Grab me a Post-it. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37. 7 blue sections. All right, so that means, and how many days do I have left? 34. So I got to do about 1 1/4 section a day, but I need to do it actually faster than that. So let's say I do 2 a day for the rest of this period. So 15 plus 3, 18. 18 days, and so 34, 18, 1. Yeah, I need to focus, man. 16. All right, so I need to get these things going, but I'm feeling good about tonight. So I'm going to start back here tomorrow night and probably do 2. I'll probably do 1 during the day tomorrow too, because doing these at night, you know, it's the end of the day. Sometimes I'm tired, sometimes I'm distracted, sometimes I'm just bah. So I'll probably do some of these during the day just to keep things moving forward. But don't worry, every night I'll still be back, same general bat time and same general bat channel, working on the book, because that's part of my process, right? Doing this whole live stream thing. Yeah, it was a big idea at the beginning, and I'm going to see the damn thing through, because if I have any regrets in my life, it's the things I didn't do, not the things I did do. So if I didn't finish this the way I started, I would regret it. I know I would regret it. So I'm not going to regret it. I'm not going to have any regrets, because I'll be coming back here again tomorrow night to finish this up, because I need you. I really, really need you, my peer pressure posse, to keep me honest working on this book, because otherwise it's not going to get done. That said, earlier today, I was editing a brand new episode of the Nonfiction Brand podcast that will be premiering on Monday, because, of course, the Nonfiction Brand podcast premieres every single Monday. This one features Kate Toon from Sydney, Australia, a really fun friend of mine. We always have great conversations, and I love to hear what she's doing down there to build her personal brand and her growing small business empire that is solely based on her personal brand. So she's actually a poster child for this book and a really great example. So definitely check that out wherever you get your podcast for free. Just go and search Nonfiction Brand. Look for this image, a black and white photo of me with the big words Nonfiction Brand right next to me, and you'll have the right podcast, because that is the cover art for the podcast. And basically that's it for me tonight. I will see you tomorrow. But first, until then, theme music. Play us on out.